Hey guys, little video editing video. This is really pretty pathetic because at this time, with my extremely low resolution camera, with the small files that it produces, I can use Windows Movie Maker, which everyone should just know how to use intuitively. It's pretty stupid. So anyway, I'm in the middle of putting my title on here, so I'll go ahead and I'll show you how you do that in just a second. So let's say I wanted to put a title. You just go to titles and credits, and if I wanted to put a title at the beginning, just put into text blah 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 blah, and it'll do your title for you, and you can change your title animation, and there's all these different animations you can pick. I don't think any of them are particularly attractive. They all look like crap. You can choose whatever font you want, or there's all, whatever. Who cares, right? And then you choose whatever background color you want or whatever, and then you add your title. Okay, the part of video editing that I think makes or breaks a video, obviously you've got to have some content. My content, I feel, is mediocre. I'm not riding a flaming bicycle through a shark's anus or something. So I've got mediocre content. So the best I can do is use what little tricks I know, because I've been shooting video since, well, actually film, back when it was actually film, from Super 8 and 16mm Bolex, and I did physical editing, where you would actually cut the film and tape it back together, splice it and all that, and run it through your editing machine. See, I used to do all that. I love that. Electronically, it's so easy. I mean, it's hardly even worth me talking about it. But the things that aren't easy are knowing when to stop and when to start scenes that you've taken. And once you have a certain style, it becomes easier, because then when you're actually creating your video clips on your video camera, you'll know to give yourself that lead in and lead out time, and not to be talking so that you can't cut the clip because you're just blathering away. You've got to give yourself some space so that you'll be able to have options later to say, oh, okay, we're done here. Let's cut that clip and dump the rest of it. We just needed that one little bit out of it. So when you're filming, to be thinking about, hey, when will I be able to edit this? Because if for instance, if I'm editing something coming in and out of frame, that's awesome, because it comes in and out of frame, and then you have these start and stop points. But if you're following an object around, and then you want to transition to the next thing, you better have a good perspective on your next one so that it feeds from one to the other in an interesting way. It's little things like that you have to be thinking about, because a lot of this is extemporaneous. It's not planned. I don't have a storyboard. I didn't sit down and write out a script. I didn't come up with a bunch of shot list. I'm just going out with my camera, doing some stuff, and then later I come back, I dump it out, I look at it and go, oh, well, okay, I can use this. I don't want to use that. So there's a lot of deleting going on. I may be using 1/10 of what I shoot. So that's a tip. Don't use everything you shoot, because it's crap, okay? Just take the parts that you absolutely have to tell your story and put it together. So obviously you have to have a story, or you have to have some subject matter, you have to have content. But the editing part is the part that I find most fascinating, because you can create a rhythm. For instance, if you're doing something where you're not talking, there's no music, there's no background noise, you're just watching a visual thing happening, that's when you can really get artistic and have some fun with it, because the timing of when you stop and start scenes gives your video a pace, and this pace, if it's consistent or if it follows the theme of what you're presenting, can reinforce it and make it better. And if it's not, it makes it a lot worse and it's distracting. So if scenes go on too long, like the scene has finished and now you're just sitting there looking at a static object for half a second, and then the next scene starts and you're looking at a static object for a tenth of a second, and then it starts moving again, and then you stop the scene while it's moving, but then the next scene starts and the object isn't moving. You know what I'm saying? These kind of non sequitur little elements add up to a point where somebody doesn't want to watch your video because it just sucks so bad. You can even take mediocre content, and if you have a relatively decent editing style, you can kind of splice it together into something. So I'll show you with something that's really mediocre content, me doing a do-it-yourself video on patching holes in a wall. So what have I got? I've got a whole mess of crap up here to select from, and then with Windows Movie Maker, you just right-click, it says add to timeline, so you add them to the timeline, what you want. And then you figure out your title or whatever. So let's just play this, and I'll show you, I'll jump to the end of it, and I'll show you how I ended it. This is a do-it-yourself video. Okay, so there's a good lead-in. Okay, there's not too much pause. There's not me just staring at the camera like a dumbass. Okay, now let's go to the end of this particular clip. Okay, now this clip actually goes on and on and on. And it was a first take, and then I made a second take because I realized I had done some things I wanted to show elsewise. Things sticking up. Okay, that's one. Okay. So that's one. Okay. I keep blathering on and on after that. But I find the one little split second where I shut my fucking mouth, and that's where I stop that clip, and I split it, and I dump the rest. And the way splitting works is you just hit the split button, and it creates a split. And then you can highlight whatever clip you want, and then you can just delete it. Or do whatever to it, or drag it, or copy it, or whatever you want to with it. Now, the second one, here's my lead-in.
Quick and dirty way of doing this, because
Now, this is actually a cut in the middle after about 2 minutes of me blathering away, doing the exact same thing. It's a retake. I'm doing 2 takes of the same scene. So I've been blathering away about patching a wall. Now, the first time I take my razor knife and I cut a cone. The second time I show you how I can just pound the drywall in to do it. And I skip all that because I'm like, whatever, let's just stick with one method. Okay, the cone method's the best. We'll forget about the pounding in method, and I'll go right to the second thing, which is rolling a little pellet, of paper. Very exciting. So I jump right to that.
I've stuff like this for a long time. Anybody that has anger management issues.
I try to add a little humor and shit into it just because it's such a boring subject. So let's jump to now I come to this part. Now I keep going well after this, and I start talking about some other stuff, but I find a place where I shut up.
So it's below the surface. So there's your prep.
Now I've managed to shut up long enough that I could, again, edit it and delete all the other crap that I didn't need. Now here's my second scene coming up.
I just wanted to show you something in case you hadn't seen how I did.
This was like a third take I was doing. But one part of it that I found very interesting is I had a good close-up of how I roll up a pellet of paper. So I just wanted to show that because it's an actual technical thing that you need to know. Okay, but I go on and on. So I find a place where I shut up after I've rolled this pellet of paper.
Out on you, because that won't work.
And I just stop. Okay, so we don't need to go over the same ground over and over. So you want to make sure that you're not being too repetitive. What I really hate about modern TV is that you get about 5 minutes of content for 45 minutes of watching. 45 minutes of watching is 30 minutes of commercial, 15 minutes of show, and then of that they repeat everything 3 times. So you're really only getting 5 minutes of content. It's very annoying. I want more content when I'm watching crap.
Alright guys, this isn't, rocket science.
So again, a lead-in, all right? And there's many ways I could have done this, but I'm just working with the footage that I've got, and I'm just talking about mixing drywall mud. Who gives a fuck? Let's jump to the end.
Clean my mud pan up. I don't have a whole lot of other places to stick mud.
Now, I actually kept talking on and on about a bunch of crap after that was totally boring and useless, but I showed you how to mix mud. I showed you how to apply mud. Now I'm going to tell you got to wash your mud pan, and then I need to shut the fuck up. So I cut it. Dump the rest.
Alright, back to more drywall fun. I know this is fascinating.
So now I'm just showing you how to sand it, okay? And I want to keep it straight and simple. I want to show you how to apply the sanding screen. I want to show you how to use the sanding screen. And then I need to show you how to clean the sanding screen, and then that's it.
Okay, guys. That's it for drywall repairs. We're not going to get into painting and priming and all that crap, but I think you know how to, right? Just tie a brush to your dog's tail and pat it on the head.
Now, let's say I didn't find that amusing, okay? I'm going to show you how to break this down right at the last bit here.
Priming and all that crap, but I think you know how to, right?
Now, you see me nod my head? I'm about to start talking again. Shut the fuck up, dude. Alright, and that's it. So now let's see if I look stupid at the end of this.
We're not going to get into painting and priming and all that crap, but I think you know how to, right?
Now, I think that looks okay. So now I've got my video. So I go to publish to this computer. Okay, I'll just call it movie because I don't give a fuck right now. I want to go to my videos. I got to move fast. I'm running out of footage on this camera. And you want HD 720p. Okay, so hit more settings, HD 720p, hit publish, and that's it. That's all she wrote. That's how I slap together a video. It's mainly about the editing. Thanks for watching.